Good morning. My name is Raj Narayan. I represent MSME Matters, which is all things that micro and medium enterprise needs as a platform. So, with me today, I have Anup Pai, who is an entrepreneur, and he is now on to his second venture, which is extremely interesting. We did have a chat earlier. I thought I would call Anup on board once again because a lot has happened since the initial chat, because that was just the idea stage. Now it's moved forward. And for me, the important part here is the micro segment of the SMEs, the really small ones. And what Anup is doing is to actually collect them under an umbrella of a small enterprise. Anup, am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I mean, eSamudaay is a model through which people who have been exposed to the digital world have got skills in the digital world, not necessarily coding, but the other things about enabling businesses to come online and conduct business. How are these guys, people who were professionals in the past, hometowns, and be known for bringing digitization to the smallest of the small businesses in the local area. And we have a lot of talent in that space. For example, people who have been selling credit cards, people who have been even pharmaceuticals, agri products, and so on. Everybody in their corporate lives have been exposed to some level of digital, interaction, and their whole lives have been governed by that. They understand the whole model of digital inventory and then how to connect demand and supply. In my conversation, I've taken a very focused approach. I come from Udupi, and I've been engaging with people in Udupi to understand the needs of the small businesses themselves. When I say small businesses, some of these businesses are not small. I mean, they've been around for decades and running thriving retail kind of businesses as well. So they have some needs. You got small shops. You've got well-known neighborhood shops and so on, where there is how can you get a new entity involved, which is, let's say, the digital mentor or the local business mentor who can enable this transaction to now happen on the digital realm. Yeah. So and meeting all kinds of people, credit card sales, like I said, and everybody is got a role to play. I mean, I think they're all coming together. They understand that they can also play a role in enabling digital, to enable small business to own digital rather than digital owning them.
Yeah.
Or like like to say, people employing technology rather than technology employing people. So I think that's it's great to see the energy and the enthusiasm through which these people, I mean the local digitally savvy people, are going about it. And I'm really happy to be, let's say, playing an enabling role in this. I mean, hopefully this will happen in other places as well.
Yeah. So for me, one of the things which I should bring to everyone's notice is we are also directly involved in some ways with the eSamudaay, the digital marketing part. So I mean, just a disclosure so that everyone knows that we do have an interest in eSamudaay as a business model, because we see, for me personally, what it means is it actually is one way of taking digital to the rest of India. But today, like if I can pick up from what Anup said, digital is hard. It's all over the place in the big cities, tier 1 cities, maybe tier 2 cities. Now you look at a place like Udupi or some of the other areas that eSamudaay is planning to sort of go with their technology stack and see how they can digitally empower people. Their digital is used largely for watching videos, not even booking tickets, I guess. I mean, so that is the sort of place that we are talking about. So here we are talking about using digital to sort of pretty much do everything that you do in your day's life. Of course, if you want to walk to the shop and buy, great. But then there are situations where you don't want to do that. I mean, it's not just about shopping, by the way. There's much more. This is just the first step. So, so Anup, one of the things I would like to sort of ask in this background is, how has been the response from three segments of people? One, the entrepreneur who probably is going to be the linchpin of the project in a town or a city. Two, the people around him, the people who are, for example, like delivery agents, or it could be the stores who want to be on this platform. And three, the actual end user. So just give me an idea. Yeah, the consumer who is going to sort of use it. Yeah.
So we'll come to the consumer towards the end, because I've still not experienced personally in this venture the consumer behavior yet. It's only friends and family and so on that have, not just my friends and family, but also the friends and families of the sellers that have come on board, that are using the app to order. Let's start with the entrepreneur class themselves, and these are, at least in Udupi there are three different types of people that I would many conversations going on. Each one is taking a different stab at it. There are people who are existing service business providers. For example, here in Udupi, one of the guys who working closely with us is a printing services provider. So he sees this as he's already servicing a number of these businesses, either printing leaflets, standees, whatnot. So this he sees as an additional value-added service that he can offer to his existing client base, and he's got the skills and the ability and the relationships to be able to go and do that. Then there is currently employed professionals who could be facing, who are either facing a job loss, or fearing a job loss. Because of the situation in the marketplace. Typically, these are people who are feet on street kind of armies for large brands, trying to acquire customer base in a place like Udupi. They see this purely from connecting demand and supply. They've been doing this, onboarding consumers and so on. So they see the need in the market. Digital need in the market. They understand in their minds how this whole thing goes about. So I think that's another segment that we are seeing a lot of resonance with. Then lastly, coming to people who have been part of the delivery networks. They might have worked in Bangalore, then moved to, let's say, Bangalore, Udupi, worked in some of these hyperlocal, delivery kind of platforms. They see this as an opportunity to become entrepreneurs, whereas in the past they were, let's say, the least significant, entity in the entire chain. So even though in a hyperlocal delivery platform, the delivery agent is the only one who knows both the seller and the buyer. The seller doesn't know the buyer, buyer doesn't know the seller, at least in the cities. And they've been, let's say, relegated to a bid position, even though they are a very important, play an important role in the transaction completion. So they see this as, they've been part of this whole journey, and they see this as, hey, you know what, I know what it takes to be able to onboard a seller. I want to now also engage with the consumer, understand the other needs of the consumer. So a little bit of, a better role rather than just a movement of goods from A to B is something that, the delivery people also see.
Yeah.
Overall, I think as the ecosystem builds out, the spirit of entrepreneurship, kindled into each class of people is bringing that X factor, I believe. Everybody trying to do a little bit more than they were doing under their corporate pyramids.
Yeah.
Is the X factor that we are seeing happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, I mean, there is another class of people which are the established business families in the local area. At least in my experience in Udupi, many of them, see. I mean, they've been around for a while. They see as e-commerce and so on come in, they see the core fabric changing, I see very enthusiastic responses from these people clearly committing support to talking about this in their networks, and so on. So I think overall, in a town like Udupi, and I believe there are about 2,000 such towns all over, similar towns, I mean, all over India. I think it's about the feeling of community, at least, that centricity to their town, right? Which was in cities, I guess, that has been lost or in the process of, disintegrating. In the towns that are still, active, and people see this as a way to, reclaim it, I guess.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting thing you say, Anup, because as you were speaking, 2-3 things came to my mind, and I mean, on purpose, we are doing this as a conversation because, like I said, at MSME Matters, we also have a sort of an interest that eSamudaay works, and works big. So that is the reason. So a couple of things came to my mind. One of the things is you mentioned the corporate hierarchy. Corporate hierarchy actually works on the principle that you need to traverse only that distance.
Yeah.
And then we have this annual stuff which goes as performance reviews, which says, so a typical scenario is that the boss would tell his or her subordinate that, oh, you fully met my expectations, and the subordinate might turn back and say, that's because your expectations are low. I didn't meet my expectations. You don't have a situation like that where in the corporate world it can go beyond. Here it is created, right?
Yeah.
So when you are mentioning the guy who actually drops off the package at your doorstep, he becomes the customer-facing person. So next time when a new service is launched on eSamudaay, he would be the first one to go and tell some of the subscribers, I mean, some of his clients, places where he goes to drop stuff, right? It works that way. Yeah. So and the entrepreneur actually has a outsourced customer relations team, which will be happy to do more and more of that thing, right? So that for me is a beautiful way of expanding a person's perspective and business.
I think what is really happening, and it's beautiful, is because we took this approach of producer first and data, and so the whole concept of eSamudaay is how do you bring the producer and consumer together, right? I mean, connect them. Whereas most platforms and hierarchies are about creating a distance between the producer and the consumer, so that there is relevance to the platform. So the minute we broke that and we said that producer and consumers are going to be together, we are only service providers. We, meaning we and the entrepreneurs on our platform, are only service providers to enable that transaction to happen, make it happen more efficiently. Beautiful things are happening. For example, sellers themselves will go out and market, the eSamudaay services, which traditionally will not happen. You would. And then different sellers marketing it to their own consumers means there's flows of consumers across services as well. So these network effects that are typically bottled up and then run top down through mass media advertising is now bottom up, generating through word of mouth and conversations on the ground. Hey, what are you doing? So all of that, I think, while these are little organic and will take time, if we let this blossom and also do some interventions, from top down as well. I mean, because we've learned these methods now. So I think, in general, that whole feeling of each point in the network trying to do more rather than stick to defined roles is a little. I mean, it's beautiful to see. Let's see how it stays.
Yeah, so we are not, I mean, I say as in like, I mean, we are not even on that stage where we are even talking about the small producers of goods and services, right? We are talking about established ones. I mean, that is the first step towards creating that community, right? So imagine that the lady down the road who makes pickles and sells. She makes maybe 10 bottles a month, and suddenly you have a demand for 10 times that number, right? But that's probably stage 2 is what I understand, right? I mean, stage 1 is still going with the
absolutely.
So you want to just share that thought also. I mean, that idea also, because that is micro entrepreneurship. That is where the story really kicks in, maybe a year down the line, right? Yeah.
So one of the things that we are trying to educate the entrepreneurs today is, think about this as just a starting point, right? I mean, what you're doing is you're digitizing existing retail flows, existing flows that are happening in your community. You're just providing a digital layer for that, right?
Yeah.
But your real success will come if you're able to create new entrepreneurs on your platform. The lady who bakes amazing cakes or makes amazing pickles, or even a chartered accountant, a retired chartered accountant who can do taxation services for the neighborhood, right? All of these are possibilities once you have the strong bonds in the neighborhood, in the community, and it's. You know what I mean? I sound like a socialist or a Luddite when I say that, but I think there could be barter kind of systems that could evolve as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
who knows?
Who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows?
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, but the next thing I know, I mean, I'm selling pickles. You are my chartered accountant, and you're saying you give me 3 bottles of pickles, I'll do your accounts for you. I mean, what's the big deal?
No, this is the way. These are possibilities once you bring community into it, and you take money out of the equation.
Yes.
One of the things that we do very clearly in our platform is we do not bring money into the platform.
Yeah.
The money goes directly between the producer and the consumer, and we provide a bill our service bill will go to the producer, saying, hey, end of the month, this is what we did for you. If you like it, pay it. I mean, obviously, as per the contract, pay the fees.
Yeah.
Right? But what I see will happen in India is if they didn't like the service, they will not pay.
Yeah.
And that's attrition that is supposed to happen. I mean, why keep unhappy customer on your platform, right? I mean, you'll know very quickly if the guy didn't pay, you didn't do a good job, right? And you move on, or you reach the resolution and move on.
Yeah, it's dangerous to keep an unhappy guy on board because he'll sneeze around and spread the message, right? I mean, we don't want that also. So
money out of the system. Yes. I mean, money is between the buyer and the seller. I mean, who are we to get in between and take a fraction of it or whatever? I mean, we do. I mean, for the service we provide. So some of these, I think, will result over time in peer-to-peer sort of arrangements that could be, who knows? I mean, in the future, it can be trading of goods and services, based on what they see as value, right?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, if you do my accounts and I can pay you with 3 bottles of achar, I mean, why not? I mean, it's why not? I mean, so see, the point is that this currency note that exists. I mean, it's a value we have given, right, to it.
Yeah.
So the more important thing, which as you were speaking, that came to my mind was the gig economy, right? Yeah. So everybody is talking about gigs. I mean, there are a lot of people out there in the market, especially the post-COVID times, intelligent people who probably have the spark, who can sort of, definitely bring about change, and doing so by sitting at home and working with minimum external movement. So the gig economy are, like you mentioned, I mean, senior citizens, people who have retired, who have their understanding, and they are computer savvy enough to be able to sort of do these things. So this, we are talking about a platform which can actually enable not just food delivery or groceries delivery, but a lot of other interactions between a person who needs a service or a product and a person who has it too.
So I mean, just a word to ensure. So while there is we are not there yet. I mean, so this is going to evolve organically in every circle, every location, and that is again going to be driven by the spirit of entrepreneurship and local innovations. So to enable this, what we've done is, from a technology standpoint, we've embedded low-code application development platforms within the circle itself. So the local entrepreneur can build, some workflows that are very, very unique to that particular local situation, right? Yeah. And these are possibilities of the future. as of now, the focus for me, I mean, just to make sure that eSamudaay goes far and wide, is to package something that is very, very clear and very, very defined, right? So we'll get to diversification after standardization. There's some level of standardization that we will. There's an immediate need in India to deliver food to home.
Yeah.
And that is a need for both the restaurant, the people who are preparing the food, as well as the consumers. Digital is a means of making that happen efficiently. We've seen that use case for the last 10 years at least, I think, since GPS has become. Yeah, so I think focusing on that to begin with, because that is giving a ready line of revenue for the local entrepreneur. And then over time, as the consumer base grows, as the concept starts taking root, we've designed it from day one to be, flowering new services and things from, based on, just trigger it, right? And just launch it. And so those are things that we will do over time. But for now, I think we are running a little bit of a standard ship, with some local flavors based on, what's going on there, right? I mean, and the choices made by the local entrepreneurs.
Yeah, so the beauty of that, having that model, is you actually do not go into the market with a one-size-fits-all approach, right?
Yeah.
So what is true for Udupi might not be true for a town, I don't know, I mean, up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if you go to, say, maybe, I don't know, Madhya Pradesh, a place, maybe, I don't know, Ratlam,
yeah,
might be different there.
Yeah.
Right? It need not be the way Udupi functions.
Absolutely.
Ditto with the town, maybe in the west of the country, or
yeah,
to the north, I mean, east of the country. I mean, it will be different.
Yeah.
So that also gives that the platform learning ability is
Yeah.
the way I see it, because
Yeah.
you standardize and then you leave certain things open and say, okay, you know what, this is the local
Yeah.
flavor. Let us see
Yeah,
what
yeah.
comes out of it.
Absolutely. I mean, that is the thinking from day one. A platform, but with the ability to be decentralized and meeting the local innovation based. I mean, how do you enable rapid local innovations?
Yeah.
Completely left to the hands of the people on the ground operating it, who understand best what needs to be done for their town, right? I mean, there is no way my central team is going to be able to see what the consumer preferences are in different parts of India, right?
Yeah, very true, very true. So, I mean, that there is also a lesson, I think, in, overall in what you have done. I mean, if I were to ask you, there is also, I see that, I mean, I want to ask you whether it was, I mean, like you said, you started off with that thought when you started the second venture after successfully exiting the first. So, I see this as a very interesting mix between having a very strong foundation on which the platform exists. Okay, this is it. This is the platform. And then using that strong foundation to actually allow a lot of other things to bloom.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I'm assuming that, like you said, this was thought out.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, what would you tell entrepreneurs who are coming up, who want to start small? They have an idea, they have a perspective. I mean, maybe it's a service business, it's a product business, anything. I mean, even if the person is just making achar.
Yeah.
What would be your suggestion to them? I mean, how flexible can you be? How rigid need you to be? How agile do you need to be? So I'll just leave it to you. Just your thoughts.
So, I mean, I think, from a technical standpoint, what we've done is we've made, the backend platform is open API.
Yeah.
So, so we have all the services for, digital services that somebody would need to be able to create a application ecosystem, a digital application ecosystem. And that includes content, that includes commerce, that includes financial services, payments. All of these are embedded within the core services on the back end. The applications that we have developed so far are of two categories. One is the control application, which is the console, which is what the entrepreneur uses to be able to manage the business. That is based on the principles of enterprise performance management and collaborations. And business intelligence in general. That is, my background. So I've constructed it from the point of view of how do you look at data to be able to manage your business, right? So that's and we built it on a low-code application development platform, which means the local entrepreneur can build their own workflows, even provide services to their, hosted services to their other customers. I mean, to build workflows and so on. The other three applications are open source, right? So that means that, let's say, Raj, you want to launch an application or a consumer application in, let's say, Kerala. You would be able to take the source code of that application, that our consumer app, make changes to it to suit your needs, and upload it onto Play Store and App Store with your own name, right, and operate it under your own brand. For now, what we are seeing is, some people just want changes to the UI UX. I mean, these are conversations that we're having outside of Udupi. They just want to change the look and feel and the brand. Some people just want to go with a single brand. I've, very, very deliberately picked a very square name like eSamudaay. It's not a consumer friendly name, but I'm that is to ensure that people find their own names, right? eSamudaay is square. We will be that that boring square, non-consumer friendly sort of name. Having said that, we are investing a lot of money in the UI UX from a consumer standpoint. Anybody can benefit from there. So because even from business model standpoint, our interests are very transparent. What we want is essentially more and more circles to come on the platform, and eventually, because of my background in banking, I'm able to get banks and NBFCs, to connect onto this and provide their services on this platform. Obviously, so I don't have any business interests in getting into the transaction in the local town. I mean, Udupi mein somebody buys 100 rupees worth of atta. I don't want 1 rupee out of it.
So that is, So
there is nothing to be. So my business interests are also very aligned. I mean, I'm a platform as a service provider with the stated intent to get into financial services. And financial services, again, I mean, these are established business models. I mean, a channel sales model for financial services is established. There, I'm trying to innovate a little bit further. I mean, I'm saying, how can the collection of the loan also be done by the local entrepreneur? Right? Today, that whole origination process and collection process is broken, is disjoint. How are we able to bring that together? Are things that I'm thinking about. So overall, very aligned. My goal is to get more and more local entrepreneurs to build their own flavors on top of this platform, create their own brands, create their own products. I mean, when I say products, I mean, it could be somebody who comes up with a travel app, right? I mean, some app for all the travelers in India, right? Which is aggregating travel-related services from all over India, right? So these are possibilities to come out of this, and let's see. I mean, overall, spirit of local innovation is what should take root, I think.
So I mean, I probably would sort of make one comment and then probably close. I mean, the way we are going, the way this experiment is at least coming out on its, I mean, so you started off as something, probably you had some idea, and now it's sort of mushrooming. You have created that base. You have also created a clear, very clearly well-defined sort of manner in which future entrepreneurs can grow. And now you added a third layer of what I would call microfinance. Right. So, I mean, we could be sort of, you could be on the cusp of creating a digital Grameen bank from the Bangladesh model, which won them a Nobel Prize, won the guy a Nobel Prize, I guess. I don't know.
So this is, I mean, more than it's a community platform. And I think in the end, I think all banking, all information-based services ends up being more efficient when it is local, right? And in the end, if it is about if the local Udupi commerce is able to benefit out of the commerce, out of the community is able to benefit out of the commerce that is happening here, and that I think results in more vibrant, sustainable communities.
Yeah.
Less migrations, more stable populations, all of that. I think who knows? I mean, what the possibilities are. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is amazing. Yeah.
I've been on this journey towards discovering decentralization, because around 2016 is when I said, okay, something is changing in the global structure, especially after Trump got elected and this whole the previous time.
Theatrics, yeah.
So I think I think the conversation around circular and distributive community pillars, the third pillar of community being strengthened, all of that are taking root, and I think software for that new economy, the circular economy, is something that is waiting to be done. I'm a software provider. I mean, I don't claim to be in the end, building good enterprise grade software is what I know how to do. Right?
Yeah.
So, and that's it. That's what we are trying to do here.
And provide good use cases for people to sort of pick up and run with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that was great, Anup. I mean, I'll just sort of try to wind up this by saying a couple of things which came to me as Anup was talking again. So one of the things that Anup said is that he's a software provider. So he's building a platform on which entrepreneurship can mushroom, right? I mean, it can grow. I mean, you are providing a solution which can actually help even the local kirana store, the medical store, to the, I don't know, local departmental store, foods and vegetable store, meat and milk store, whatever, plus services of many sorts. Even a gig economy can thrive on that. So I mean, it's like, I mean, you are providing an entire business solution to the business in an area, by which the economy of that area grows, which I think becomes very important for the country as a whole, because if the economy of a particular area grows on its own, it becomes Atmanirbhar, which is self-sufficient. And if that becomes self-sufficient, you will start seeing other economies also becoming self-sufficient. And the moment that happens, I think that is where true innovation starts.
Yeah.
So you cannot have innovation on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. I mean, I think Anup, you're onto something really big. I mean, I would be very happy to see this journey alongside you, see where it goes, and be happy to contribute whatever little I can. So this is amazing. That's all.
Just to end, the only thing that is needed is, I think, us to put the message out, and
yes.
Each one of us reaches cash flow neutral status quickly, and then make decent amount of profits. Every one of the entrepreneurs that are on the platform reaches cash flow neutral status very, very quickly, and that means I reach cash flow neutral status very, very quickly as well.
Yeah. Yes. Obviously, it goes like that only, right? So yeah, Anup, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Raj,
for being on the show. We'll keep track of you, and we'll keep bringing out milestones as you reach them. That's a promise.
Thanks so much, and lovely to have you part of the journey, Raj.
Thank you. We are all looking forward to that journey, and we'll be part of it. I assure you that. Thanks, Anup. Thanks. Have a good day.
You have a nice day.
Bye. Bye. Bye.